Welcome to the Blender Goon. In this video, we're going to get our house textured by sorting out our UVs and baking our textures for upload to Second Life. And we'll probably be using some multiple UV strategy here. So to get started, I think we'll just go top to bottom. So I'm going to grab our roof here and our little roof with Shift Select, screencast keys as usual. And I'm going to hit G and just kind of move it and take a look at it and make sure I got what I want. And I'm just going to right click and drop it back over there. And I'm going to hit Control J and join them together. So that leaves us with those parts, which is good. And we'll jump into UV editing. So my little roof is really big and the rest of my roof is all there, but my textures are laying the way I want them. So in order to fix this, we can create us another UV map. And I have this, I don't know how this got there, but I'm gonna get rid of it. So to make another UV map, we just click the little plus over here. So I'm on Object Data Properties, and you can scroll down to UVs and open it up, and you'll see your original UV map here. And we're just gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna call it Roof Bake. That way we know it's the roof. And we need to tick this little box and go here. Now we can re-unwrap this or scale everything and it won't mess with our actual size. So I'm just going to grab these guys and reposition them so that they're on here. And I'm going to grab this, I'm going to scale it down. And if you notice, it does change the scale of it here, but it doesn't mess with this one. So we're going to take this one and we're going to bake it to this one. And you'll see that process in a minute. So let's move this up here, scale it down. And you want to try to give it texture space and stuff. If you want to be really lazy, you can just smart UV project this and call it a day. But I like to kind of keep my UVs nice if I can. So those look pretty good. So I don't like the name of this. We're going to name it just house UV. Whoops, not UV, UV. So just so you guys are clear, the house UV is what's going to tell our textures where they're supposed to lay. And we can have overlapping UVs as long as they're different textures. So this just controls where the texture's laying. And each part's going to be on the same UV here. Okay, so we have our UV set up here. Now I need to go into shading and set up the node system to tell this thing to bake where I want it to bake. So this initial texture coordinate node, we're going to change it. So we're going to select it and we're going to hit Shift S. And input's the first one, and we're just going to go to UV map, and that will change that node to the UV map. And we're going to use our first UV map as the entrance. And then over here, we need a copy of that. So we're just going to copy it with Shift D and move it over. And then hit Q and image texture. For those of you who haven't been here, I have that on my hotkeys. Otherwise, you Shift A, texture, image texture. So I'm going to click New, and we're going to call this Roof Bake. Uncheck that, and click OK. And we're going to plug our UV into the vector and change this one to the house UV. Make sure that node's selected. Let's go over in the layout real quick and make sure we have good lighting on it. The lighting looks fine. Ooh, I'm lagging. The lighting looks good. We have our object selected. And we need to make sure there's nothing rendered turned on. And I have my physics in a different collection and my house parts in a different collection. So I have the rendering turned off on the physics, because if it's on, you're going to end up with a black bake. We also want to check our normals. So I'm going to go to solid view, and you can go to, go to the overlays and hit the drop down and go to face orientation and make sure everything's blue, and it is. Looks like the inside of our house is all inside out though. But I also have that on my quick favorites menu, so turn that back off. Go back into shading, into the render panel. Move that up. Make sure you're on cycles, GPU compute. I have denoise turned off. Max samples, we don't need 496. I'm going to do 512. And then go down to bake. And combined is fine, and we're just going to bake it. Circle dependency CG roof. We can ignore that. It should be fine. Oh, you know what? Stop that. I forgot I have two uh, textures on here. Because I have two on there, I need the second one to have the stuff also. So I'm just going to copy this with Control C. Go to my roof texture 2 and Control V and copy it. Or never copies, right? Right click copy. Control V. There we go. And then over here we need to do the same with this coordinate node, which is Shift S, input, UV map, change it to the first one. Select this, and hopefully I didn't break stuff. It looks like I broke stuff. If I did, I'll fix it. Make sure this node's selected. Select your other material. Make sure that node's selected and your roof selected. And then we're going to go back to the rendering tab and bake it again. And see if it bakes right, because I may have broke it. Yep, I broke it. So I don't know what I did there, but I broke it. So I'm just going to go back in here and go to my textures and just reload it into there and select your material properties. And it looks like it reloaded there too automatically. But I'm going to do it again anyway. Uh, no, it's okay. And back in here. And now I have my textures on there again. So back over here, make sure these nodes are selected. Now that I have them going to the right places. Now we can go bake it again. So bake. And that should bake properly this time. I don't know why it turned black. There we go. And we can hit Control Space on here and check out what it looks like. Looks like there's a little more specular on here. So I kind of want to change that. I don't want this to be shiny and these to not be shiny. So Control Space. Believe this one is the other one. Let's see here. So to figure out which one it is, I can hit Tab and deselect everything and select one of them and hit Select. So that's the main roof. So that's not the one I want. I want this one. So I go to this one and I can just turn the specular down on it. We can go into render view and check it. I'll turn the roughness up a little bit. We could also just select this one. And so the specular on that one's 0.152. So we can go here and just type in 0.152. And then check the roughness on this one. It's 8.836. So go here, 0.836. And now they're the same. So now we can go back in object mode, make sure both our textures are selected, and then bake it again. A little trial and error. Okay, so that's done. Control Space to check it again. Now the textures are a little better looking. Control Space and go here to our three little lines. We have an image with an asterisk, which means we have an image that's not saved. And go ahead and save as. And this is where I want it to go. So we're going to name it's already named Roof Bake, which is perfect. Just click Save As. Okay, guys, so we got our roof done. Now I want to bake the red parts, and I want to bake the windows frames with it. But I don't have any light inside my house, so we are going to hide our door and turn on render mode. And we can see inside the house is extremely dark. Let's go ahead and do a layout and check it out. It's easier to see. So inside our house is really dark, so we're going to make a light. So in object mode, hit Shift A, light, and we're going to do point light. And we'll just move it up and go to the light bulb And we can start turning the power up on that. And you can see inside the house, we are starting to get some light. And we can place this light in here wherever we want. Um, so I'm going to kind of move it up into like this area. And that should be the center of the house. Uh, so we can move this light around till it's in the kind of center of the house. Probably like here. Go this way, take a look. We might need to move it. I'm actually going to move it down because I don't want this to get all dark. Somewhere around there. Go back here. And let's go inside and take a look. And I'm actually going to hit Shift tilde and then hit G and drop myself in here so I can walk around and take a look. Make sure everything's as bright as I want it to be. It's kind of bright right there, but I think I'm okay with that. Because I don't want the floor to get too gaudy bright. I might move it down a hair. So right click to get out of that. And I'm going to move it down a little bit. And maybe back to the left a little bit. I'm just trying to make sure our roof doesn't get too bright and our floor doesn't get too bright. And if I wanted to, I could just put a couple other lights in there. And I may or may not do that. I think it's fine for now. But you guys can make like area lights and stretch them skinny and long. And maybe put one across the roof here. And then one across the roof like up here. And that'll probably give you some better lighting inside. But for, quickness purposes, I'm going to leave this be. And I'm going to turn it up just a hair more so that it's not too dark in there. And I just want to make sure everything's lit up well enough because everything comes into Second Life a little darker anyway. And just get it to where you like it, and we'll call that good. So I want this part and the windows to be in one piece. So I'm going to select both of those and hit Control J to make as one UV or one texture on the UV map now. So now we can go into UV editing, and that's our crazy mess. I'm going to delete this extra UV map and add another one. So as far as I know, there's not a way to change this like materials. You can hit little drop downs and stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back in object mode, select my roof, double click this, right click, double click it, and Control C to copy the name. Oops. Yeah. Select your other parts, double click this one, and Control V and paste it in there because you want it to name the same. Then we're going to select this one. So make sure you have it selected and the camera selected. Now if we go into edit mode and make sure everything's selected, we can do a smart UV project on this and it'll be fine. Island margin, I'm going to turn up a little bit and click OK. Actually, I don't like that at all. Let's Control Z that. And I'm going to go to Materials tab. Well, there's a lot of materials on there. We're not using these bottom ones. We're just using the top two. Object mode. We're just using the top two, so I'm going to get rid of those because that'll cause us issues. And I'm going to select the brown and go into edit mode and make sure nothing's selected and click select. And I'm just going to move this over here. And then I'm going to select nothing again and select the red and hit select and then move this over here and then hit A so both of them are showing. That way I can scale all this down and fit it on the UV map because I didn't like how the Smart Project did it. So we can put this stuff here. Move this out of the way. Did I scale that down by itself? No, I scaled them both at the same time. Okay. Just making sure I didn't scale one bigger or smaller than the other. They both need scaled down a little more. And we'll stick him here. Actually, we're just going to stick them beside each other and scale them down until they fit. I'd like to get them lined up better than that, and if you want to, you can. You can separate some of this stuff out. Like, let's see, let's grab this half here. Well, I actually selected that pretty good. So I'm just going to move it. That way I can scale all this stuff a little bigger. And I'm going to rotate all this 90. I'm just trying to give myself as much texture space as I can. That way the resolution comes out pretty good. So that should do. Make sure our textures look how we want them. Make sure there's the specular and everything's right on them. And I think they all look pretty good, since that's a problem we had on the last one. Select them again. Jump into shading. And then we have to do our texture coordinates again. So Shift S on the texture coordinate input, UV map. We're going to change that one to the first one. We can copy it, move it over here, change it to the second one. Q, image texture, new. I'm going to call this Windows and Roof Parts. Bake. Bake. Click OK. Plug this guy into there. Copy this. Put it in the other one, because last time I forgot. And don't forget to change your texture coordinate on the second material. So Shift S, input, UV map. First one. Make sure this one's the second one. It is house UV, good. Double check that one. Make sure that node's selected. Make sure this node's selected. All the parts are selected. Go. We already checked our normal maps, so we can go ahead and bake this. Okay, let's check out our bake with control space. Everything looks pretty good. I'll call that good. And control space to get back to it. 3 little bars. Got our asterisks again. Save as. That's the correct folder. It's named properly. Save. Okay, we got our windows and our trim done. I think now we're going to do the bricks. So we'll select the bricks and go ahead over here. Make sure we only got one material on there, because things have been stupid. Yep, one material. So on this one, we're going to Shift S, input, change it to UV map. We can put our first one in here, and we still have to make our second one. So into our object data properties, click our little plus, double click this, and it should still be, yep, I still got it in the clipboard, so house UV is good. Now we can copy this, Shift D, move it over here. Q for an image texture. Plug the UV into the vector. Change the UV map to the house UV. Click new. We're going to name it, we're going to call it foundation. Foundation bake. And click OK. Make sure that node's selected. Make sure our UV and our house is selected over here, otherwise it won't bake right. And actually, we didn't need to do none of that. Because we didn't add anything. Oh, yeah, we do, because it's real big. Yeah, so we're good. We did need to do that. So make sure this is selected, make sure our foundation is selected, make sure our house UV is selected and the camera's turned on, and go back to the rendering tab and bake it. Whoops. So I forgot to unwrap it for our new UV. So there's another mistake you might make. So jump into UV. I'm going to hit A, U, and just unwrap it. And then we could probably leave all that be. I'd like to get more texture space out of it though. So let's hit L on that one and rotate it 90 degrees. Move it up here. Grab this one, move it here. I'm going to scale this on the Y a little bit. And to make sure it fits in there, I'm going to turn on constrain to bounds and just hit G. And that'll make sure it's inside the texture space. And we can scale it down here too, just to give it a little bleed area. And I'm going to scale this one up just to give it more texture space. And that should be fine. And then back into shading. And we'll go ahead and bake it again. The reason I had to rebake is because this guy is running clean off the edge, so we're missing a big chunk of both sides. Alright, let's check that out. Zoom in on it. It looks pretty good. I don't know what this shadow is. It may be off of the side of here. So I'm going to go here and take a look. Oh, it's down here. It's underneath, so it doesn't even matter. That's what that is. Yeah, it is. It is. That's what it is. Alright, we got that baked. Go ahead and save that image. Save as. That is the correct folder. Foundation Bake is a good name. Save. So we got our brick texture done, and we're going to go on and we're going to do the front wall with the little flower and our flowery side wall. Uh, just to interrupt for a minute, if you like what you're learning and you're learning something, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification icon. And if you're able and willing and want to support me, go ahead and visit my Patreon and subscribe. Thanks. So let's get on to the two walls here. So I selected the front wall with our flower on it. And I'm going to select our side wall. And we're going to join those two guys together. And let's check our textures, make sure we ain't got a bunch of crazy textures on it. And we do. So let's see. So we need that blue one. We don't need this one. Let's go here. That's our right wall, so we need that one. So let's get rid of those two and this one. And that leaves us with our two textures. Now we need to get in here and fix our texture coordinate nodes. So this one's a little confusing because it has, this texture coordinate node for a flower. But we just need to change this one. We can leave that one be. So we are going to Shift S, input, UV map, change it to our first one. And then we can make a copy of it. Shift D, move it over here. Make an image texture. Plug those in. And we need our coordinate node, or our UV map. So we need to go back to our UV maps. And we can get rid of this prime one. Still don't know where that come from. The overlay one, we can leave it on there. Hit plus. Double click this and Control V to make sure it's named House UV like our other ones. Make sure the camera's on and the thing is selected. Change this one to the House UV and click New. We're going to name it Front Wall and we got a side wall on it too, but that's okay. Click OK. Now we need to go in here and, like I said, make sure this one's selected and we can re-unwrap this. So I'm just going to hit Tab to go into Edit Mode. Hit A. And there's our UV map. And we're just going to grab this one. Turn off this. Oh, okay. Constraints off. And move it up here and just scale it down until it fits. That looks good. Back to shading. Make sure our texture selected here. And we need it over here. So back to this one. Right click. Copy it. Why didn't I copy? There we go. Copy. Select our right wall. Control V. Paste it in there. And change our texture coordinate node on this one. Don't forget to change your texture coordinate nodes, guys. UV map, and that's going to be UV. Make sure this one's selected. House UV is right. Make sure this one's selected. House UV is right. Back to our render tab and bake. All right. Control space over here. Take a look at it. I like how it looks. So we'll call that one done. Hit our three little bars, image, save as. It's named correct. It's in the right folder. Save image. Okay, moving on. We got those two done. Now we're going to do these other two. So I'm going to select this material. And I'm just going to hit this little X here. Or not the X, the number, because it's still attached to all the other stuff, and I want to change some stuff. So I'm going to click it. That changes it to material 10. This one is still material 3. We're just going to hit this drop down over here and change it to material 10. I got a bunch of materials in this file. And we are just going to delete this bottom stuff off of here because this is the flower on the front of the building. We don't need it. So we're just going to delete it and break everything, apparently. Why would it do that? Control Z. What's going on there? That shouldn't have changed any. Oh, I know why. Let me, yeah. Yeah, we can delete that. And it's like that because of this. See? So we're going to take this one and plug it into there, and then we can delete that. And that fixed it. See, even I get lost all the time. So our UV map is good here because that was there, and this over here stuff should be pretty good. It's not found in house UV because it's not on that material or on those objects. So we're going to join them together. So shift click both of those and join them together. Control J. Now we can hit our little plus, double click this, Control V. Nope. Let's click our roof and grab that. Control C. Click our building again. Double click this, Control V. And turn our little camera on. And now we can unwrap those two guys. So UV editing. Hit A. And they're on there like that. And I'm actually going to probably kind of flip them upside down. So I'm going to rotate this 180. And stick it up here. And we'll move this one under here. And then grab both of them and scale them down till they fit. There we go. Try to use as much texture space as we can. And that should be okay. Back to shading. Double check this node. We only got one material on here, right? Yep, one material. Select this node. Go back to the render. And bake it. And don't forget to make sure you have the bottom one selected and highlighted. And there's our bake. Check it out. Looks pretty good. Yep, that's alright. That blurred edge is just to overlap so that we don't have weird fuzzy stuff on the edge. And it's got that overlap all the way around. It should have. So we're good there. Go ahead and save that image. Save as. We didn't name it, so we're going to name it back wall. And save image. So we've got all that done. Now I want to bake the inside floor. But to do the floor, I actually want to put some lights coming in the window so we get some light spots inside here. Because right now it doesn't really have anything. So what I'm going to do is add a light. So go to light or Shift A light, and I'm just going to do a point, not a point light, spotlight. And then I'm going to go into layout, go into front view, and I'm just going to move this light over here and rotate it to where it's pointing in. Maybe move it down a little more. Rotate it some more. go inside and crank up the power till I can see it coming in. And we're looking for the little spot there. I might have to move it up and then rotate it on the Y. Now I'm starting to see it. So I'm going to give it some more power. And that gives me a nice little window shadow there. Maybe move it back on the Y a little bit. There we go. And that looks good. And I'm going to do that for all the windows. So I'm just going to hit 7 and zoom out. Actually, let's see, do I got a back window? Yeah, I got a back window. And it's right above the peak kind of. So we'll hit 7. And we'll just shift D and move that over here. And rotate it this way. Move it over a little bit. I think it's like right there. And then go inside and check. Oop. Yep, and I can move that on the X, GX, and change where it's going. So we got that light coming through the window there. So back to 7. Let's see, where's this one at? Oh, there's none on this side, so we need one on the front side, which is right here. So 7, and we'll just copy that one. Rotate it 180. Jump inside the house. And GX and move it around until you like where it's at. And I like that. And that just gives us a little light coming through here and stuff. We're not having any come through the doorway because if you look, I have the door hidden, but I don't have the door de-rendered. So it's not getting any light coming through. So I like how the floor looks. Now we just need to set it up to bake. So let's check out the UV of the floor. So select the floor. Go in edit mode. Hit A. Go to UV editing. We can make that much bigger. So I'm just going to unwrap it again. Actually, I'm not, because I know the grain's going the way I want it. You know what? Let's go ahead and do our UV map thing. So I'm going to hit plus, double click this one, Control V, turn on that one. Now I can unwrap, and that gives me more texture space. I'm going to actually grab these in vertex select mode, turn on constrained image bounds, and hit GY and just shove it up there. So I take the whole texture space. Into shading. And there's our floor. Check here, make sure we only have one material, and we do. That's good. We have the right one selected. We need to change this. So Shift S, input, UV map. So Shift A creates one, and Shift A changes whatever you have selected. That's why I keep hitting Shift F or S. That one's the UV map. And then we need another one. I'm not going to do that there, though. I'm just going to hit Shift A, input, UV map. Hue, image texture. This has to be house. Connect it to the vector. Click new. Name it floor. Click OK. Select that node. Make sure those are selected. Go to render tab and bake. Alright. Mouse over your bake. Control space. Check it out. Look at that. We got windows. That looks great. So, control space. Save that image. Save as. Floor's named right. And save the image. Okay, so our inside side walls we're going to do just like we did the outside walls. So I'm going to let's period on number pad and zoom into the house here. Sorry, wrong buttons. And we're going to select, they're all connected. So let's zoom out here. Hit tab. Actually, I'm going to start hiding stuff because it's going to be hard to select. So I'm going to hide these. And hiding this stuff doesn't de-render it. It only stops the visibility, not the rendering. So the stuff still bakes like it's there. You just can't see it. So we'll select this, hit tab, and I need to select these faces of the front wall. and this sidewall. And hit P, selection. So those are in their parts and these are in these parts. So check our materials, see how many we got on there. We've only got the one, that's good. Um, go to UV editing and hit A. And they're on there like that, so go to shading and we need to add our UV map. So subtract off of that one, grab that one, make sure it's named right, make sure it's selected. We can go ahead and change these while we're here. Shift S, input UV map, make a copy of it, move it over here, add an image texture, change this to house, plug it into vector, make a new, whoops, not open, make a new one. We're going to name it front inside wall bake and click OK. Select that node, UV editing, just grab it and scale it up. Oh, I got the image bounds on again. Scale it up, make it fit. That should be fine. And now we can go bake it. Like that, make sure this is selected. In the rendering tab, and bake. And check out our image. I think it looks good. Save that image. Everything's right, so click save. We're going to do the same thing with the back walls. So we need our house UV on here. So go here, I'm going to delete that. Add one, change the name, make sure it's selected. We can rename this after we bake it. We don't have to do nothing to it. So we can just hit bake here. Bake. I know there's no extra material on this because we separated those to make it, so. And, oh, we forgot to unwrap it. So let's unwrap it. UV editing. Hey, you, unwrap. Rotate it 90. I'm actually going to rotate this one 90 too. Actually, 180. It should be fine. Scale all that up. Use as much texture space as you can. And back to shading and bake. Good. Control space to check it. Everything looks good. Control space to get out of there and save our image. The name is wrong, so I'm just going to name it back wall bake. Back inside wall bake. Yeah. And save it. Okay, I think we have just one more to do, and that'd be the inside walls, this roof, and these stupid blue pieces that we forgot on our blue parts, but they'll be fine. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and unhide all this. It'll be just easier. Alt H to unhide. I'm going to select the top roof and hide it. I'm going to hide those also. And we'll select this guy, and this guy, and this guy. And we're going to Control J all that to get. Actually, I want to check this first. See how many materials are on there. That's what I thought. So we don't need the gray ones, or the green ones, or the red ones. We need the white and the blue. How about this one? Good. How about this one? Ah, see? So we're going to get rid of all those. Good. So select that, Control J, get them all joined together. And now we need to do our UV maps. So This is another one we can get rid of, so we're going to delete those. Actually, I'm gonna click this, make a new material for it. Now I'm gonna get rid of those, get rid of that one, plug him into there, which is good. UV map is good. This is not right because of this, so we're gonna get rid of that. Make a new one. Double click it. Control V to name it. Make sure it's turned on. Uh, Now that's correct. This doesn't matter yet. The white. Oh, so that was the blue. Now we need the white. And I think that's it, right? Yep. Select the white. Hit this node. Shift S. Input. UV map. Change it to UV map. Make a copy of it. Q. Image texture. New. Name it roof bake. Click OK. Plug the UV into vector. Change this to house. Select this one. Right click and copy it. Select that one. Delete this one. And copy it here because it needs to be the same one. Make sure this one's selected. Make sure this one's selected. Go into UV editing so we don't bake and forget to unwrap again like I've been doing. No, the only thing bad here is those two guys, so we can select those and just move them over here. And that should be fine. Actually, it looks good. So, back to shading. Double check our nodes, make sure we got them selected. Roof selected. Into renders and bake. And I didn't. Oh yeah, it's named. Okay, we're good. I don't like the name of it though. We're gonna name it ceiling bake instead of roof bake. So when it's done baking, we'll do that. And there's our roof bake. Control space to check it. See the you can see the lights. So you can put like area lights in, like one pointing down and one pointing up, so you can light the roof or the ceiling how you want and the floor how you want. Um, there's a lot of lighting stuff you can do, but this looks good to me. That actually looks good down there too. So save our image. Image save as. And I don't want it roof bake, I want it ceiling, so ceiling bake and save as. And I think that's everything except for the door, which I'm going to do completely last. After I export and everything, I'll come back and do something with that door. So that's it for the arranging UVs and baking. In the next videos, we're going to get our physics models back out and get them all matched up with our house again and export it and get it into Second Life and probably build a door too because the door's not done. I went ahead and made myself a folder that just named bakes and put all 9 of our textures in here. Normally a object for Second Life is only allowed to have 8 materials, but this thing's going to be in a bunch of pieces, so it doesn't matter. You can have 8 materials per part. If you learned something and you liked what you see, again, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and notification buttons and check out my Patreon. I can use the support. Thank you.